Welcome to the neighborhood.
Wait till you taste my Margie's dessert.
Oh, Dad, you did it.
Sweetheart, there's nothing I can't do.
It was only an appetizer. Weight Watchers didn't have a hope.
Imagine a time when Jell-O salads graced dinner tables and TV dinners were the height of convenience. From the comfort foods of the 1950s to the snack crazes of the 1980s, American kitchens have seen a dazzling array of culinary creations. But what became of those once-loved dishes that no longer find their way into our meals? Join us as we uncover famous foods that have faded into history.
Sloppy Joes. Sloppy Joes were a cherished meal in 1950s to 1980s America, enjoyed at home and in schools. They were easy to make, yet flavorful, featuring ground beef cooked in a tasty tomato sauce.
Baby, make some swing. Sloppy Joe, the thing.
To whip up this classic, you'd need ground beef, onions, ketchup, Worcestershire sauce, brown sugar, and spices. These ingredients came together in a pan, simmering until the flavors melded into a savory sweet delight. Once ready, the mixture was piled onto soft hamburger buns, creating a messy but delightful sandwich. Today, Sloppy Joes remain a popular comfort food, with variations adding extra flair like peppers or different seasonings. While some may opt for ready-made mixes, the homemade version still reigns supreme for those seeking that authentic, homemade taste from the past. Banana Flip Snack Cakes. In the 1970s, banana flip snack cakes were a sensation in the dessert world. The Drake's Cakes Company created these treats as sponge cakes brimming with luscious banana cream. They quickly gained popularity and became a household favorite across America. Made using a blend of flour, sugar, eggs, and ripe bananas, their recipe was simple yet irresistible. The cakes were meticulously crafted, with a soft, airy texture that perfectly complemented the rich banana filling. Drake's Cakes, a well-known bakery at the time, produced a variety of snacks and desserts, but the banana flip snack cakes stood out for their unique flavor profile. However, as taste evolved and consumer preferences shifted, the demand for banana flip snack cakes dwindled.
Wax Lips candy is a fun and tasty treat that's not just for eating but also for playing. Made by the American Candy Company in the early 20th century, these lips have been a playful novelty for many years.
Hey, sir, try our Wax Lips. It's the candy of 1,000 uses.
Tootsie Roll Industries acquired them in 2004, and now they are known as Wacko Wax Lips. These cherry-flavored lips encourage play with your food fun, making them perfect for parties, holidays, or just goofing around with friends. The motto is play now, chew later, adding to the enjoyment. Originally popular in the late 1970s, especially during Halloween, Wax Lips have a unique and proprietary design. The patent for the original design was acquired by Concord Confections, limited in 2002, and later Tootsie Roll Industries. Along with the lips, there are other designs like wax fangs, black wax mustaches, and even horse teeth. These edible novelties have a rich history and continue to bring joy to people of all ages.
Honeycomb ice cream. Honeycomb ice cream, a popular treat from the 1970s, was known for its crunchy bits of honeycomb toffee mixed into smooth vanilla ice cream. The company responsible for creating this delightful dessert was Cadbury. The honeycomb pieces, also known as hokey pokey, especially in New Zealand, gave the ice cream a unique texture and a rich caramel flavor. The honeycomb toffee was made by heating sugar and syrup to high temperatures and adding baking soda. This caused the mixture to foam and expand, creating a sponge-like structure similar to actual honeycombs. The toffee was broken into small pieces and mixed into the ice cream. Despite its popularity, honeycomb ice cream has become less common. Changes in consumer taste and the introduction of new flavors contributed to its decline in popularity. However, the nostalgic appeal of honeycomb ice cream remains, and it's still cherished by those who remember its distinctive taste and texture. Lobster Thermidor. Lobster Thermidor was indeed a culinary sensation in the mid-20th century United States. Originating from France, this dish became a symbol of luxury and fine dining, especially during the 1950s to the 1980s. Lobster Thermidor was synonymous with upscale dining experiences, often served in high-end restaurants and exclusive social gatherings.
If it's been a while since you've eaten crab legs, let Red Lobster remind you how. Right in the middle. That's right. It pays to dig deep.
It represented a lavish lifestyle and sophistication. The preparation of lobster thermidor was intricate, After boiling, the lobster meat was carefully removed, mixed with a rich sauce comprising cream, egg yolks, mustard, and cognac, and then placed back into the lobster shell for broiling. The sauce was the highlight of the dish, blending creamy textures with the distinctive flavors of cognac and mustard. It added depth and richness to the tender lobster meat. Over time, lobster thermidor's popularity waned, partly due to changing culinary trends and a shift towards lighter, healthier fare. Its elaborate preparation also made it less practical for everyday dining. Magic Middles. Magic Middles were delightful treats created by the Keebler Company, known for its elves and tasty cookies. These treats emerged in the 1980s, gaining popularity for their unique blend of a soft cookie exterior hugging a fudgy chocolate center. People loved their surprising burst of chocolate goodness. Bakers crafted a soft cookie dough to make Magic Middles and added a delicious chocolate filling before baking. This combination of textures and flavors made them a hit among dessert enthusiasts.
Oh, you mean Keebler Magic Middles? We hide lots of delicious melted chocolatey filling inside crisp cookies. Try one.
Incredible.
Sadly, Magic Middles are no longer found on shelves today. The reasons for their disappearance vary. Sometimes companies stop making certain products due to changes in consumer preferences or to focus on newer creations. In the case of Magic Middles, they didn't keep up with evolving taste or face production challenges, leading to their discontinuation. Reggie Bar. The Reggie Bar was a unique chocolate bar named after the baseball star Reggie Jackson. It originated in the 1970s when the Curtis Candy Company rebranded their Bun Bar to honor Jackson. The Bun Bar, a round disc of caramel and milk chocolate, had been around since the late 1940s, made by the Wayne Bun Candy Company. The Reggie Bar was more than just a chocolate treat. It was shaped like a no-bake cookie and came with a collector baseball card, making it a hit among kids and baseball fans. It was famous for its connection to Reggie Jackson and was known to be tastier than other similar candy bars.
That's funny. I thought I was the real Reggie. Reggie, it's everybody's kind of candy bar.
The bar was created by creating a round caramel disc, then topped with peanuts. This assembly was dipped in milk chocolate to make the final product. Despite its initial success, the Reggie Bar didn't last long. It was discontinued in 1981, the same year Jackson left the Yankees. The company behind it underwent several ownership changes, ultimately contributing to the bar's demise. Stuffed bell peppers. Stuffed bell peppers were a popular and iconic dish in American cuisine from the 1950s to the 1980s, representing a time when hearty home-cooked meals were a staple of family dinners. These bell peppers, typically green but sometimes red or yellow for added visual appeal, were filled with a flavorful mixture of ground meat, rice, tomatoes, and herbs. They made clever use of simple, affordable ingredients to create a satisfying meal that could feed a family without breaking the budget.
There you have it, our stuffed bell peppers. And look at that, they're beautiful, colorful, and delicious.
The vibrant colors of the bell peppers made them visually appealing on the dinner table, adding a touch of elegance and freshness to the meal. While the classic recipe included ground meat, rice, tomatoes, and herbs, there were countless variations and personal touches that people added to suit their taste. The versatility allowed for creativity in the kitchen. This dish often became a family favorite, with recipes passed down through generations. It was a comforting and familiar meal that brought loved ones together while around the dining table. Their popularity has waned in recent decades, with newer culinary trends and preferences shifting towards lighter, more globally influenced cuisines.
Sipping soda from glass bottles, especially classic flavors like root beer and cola, brings a special charm that many fondly remember. The classic root beer, for instance, offers a smooth vanilla taste with hints of wintergreen and anise, creating a delightful experience for only $2.50. Not too long ago, glass bottles were the only option available. They were considered more hygienic, kept the drink fresher without altering its flavor, smell, or strength, and were visually more appealing than other alternatives of that time. The tradition of enjoying enjoying a cold soft drink from a glass bottle is deeply ingrained in American culture. This cultural connection remains strong today, echoing the days of soda fountains and car hops. Interestingly, the United States still holds a significant share, over 25%, in the global soft drink market, showcasing the enduring popularity of this timeless beverage in a classic container. As we savor the nostalgic charm of sipping soda from glass bottles, the cultural connection to timeless beverages echoes.
Space food sticks. Space food sticks were innovative snacks developed by the Pillsbury Company in the late 1960s, designed by the company's chief food technologist, Howard Bauman. These snacks were part of the excitement surrounding the space race and were an early attempt at creating nutritious, space-friendly food. Bauman, who later played a significant role in establishing food safety regulations, helped create the first solid food consumed by a NASA astronaut.
Hey, space food sticks! Oh, I wish I had these on my space adventure.
The space food sticks were a precursor to modern energy bars, containing a balanced mix of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. They were marketed as a nutritious snack that could be enjoyed in the vacuum of space, capitalizing on the public's fascination with NASA's Apollo missions. The sticks came in various flavors, including peanut butter, caramel, and chocolate, and were packaged in boxes of 14 individually wrapped sticks. Their popularity soared in the early 1970s, especially among children, as they were associated with the novelty of space exploration. However, as the space race craze waned, so did the demand for space food sticks, leading to their disappearance from North American supermarket shelves in the 1980s. They experienced a brief revival in the 2000s and were sold in select museums and online until production ceased in 2014. Despite their discontinuation, space food sticks remain a memorable part of space and snacking history. Chicken pot pie. Chicken pot pie was an iconic dish in American cuisine from the 1950s to the 1980s, embodying a comforting and hearty meal for many families. Encased in a flaky pie crust, it boasted a creamy mixture of chicken and vegetables, making it a wholesome and satisfying dinner choice.
We'll take 2 chicken pot pies.
KFC Chunky Chicken Pot Pie, our signature recipe, freshly baked and loaded with chunks of chicken and vegetables.
The dish's popularity stemmed from its simplicity, affordability, and ability to serve as a complete meal in a single dish. One notable aspect of chicken pot pie was its versatility. Families often added their twist by including various vegetables like carrots, peas, and potatoes, enhancing both the flavor and nutritional value of the meal. This adaptability made it a go-to option for households looking to create a filling and tasty dinner without extensive preparation or expense. Additionally, chicken pot pie was symbolic of a time when homemade meals were a cornerstone of American family life. Its aroma wafting from the oven signaled not just dinner, but a moment of togetherness and comfort shared around the table. Butterscotch Crimpets. Butterscotch Crimpets were a delightful treat from the 1950s and 60s. They were made by Tasty Cake, a well-known company specializing in baked goods. These snack cakes were famous for their butterscotch icing, which added a sweet and rich flavor to the soft cake. To make butterscotch crimpets, bakers would create a moist cake base and top it with a layer of creamy butterscotch icing. This combination of flavors and textures made them a favorite among many people. However, as taste and trends shifted over the years, butterscotch crimpets started to lose their popularity. The company faced challenges with changing consumer preferences and competition from other dessert brands.
Hostess Twinkies is a famous American snack cake known for its golden sponge cake with a creamy filling. Hostess brands originally made them and have been loved since the 1950s. While the Twinkies you find today are still popular, many people have a strong nostalgic attachment to the original recipe from the 50s. In 2012, during bankruptcy proceedings, Twinkie production came to a halt on November 15th. Fans were left without their beloved snacks for a few months. The absence was felt across the country. However, the sweet relief came on July 15th, 2013, when Twinkies returned to American store shelves, delighting fans once again. Even though the recipe may have seen some changes over the years, the nostalgia for the classic taste of 1950s Twinkies remains strong, reminding people of the sweet memories associated with this iconic treat. As the golden era of Twinkies, the delectable return on July 15th, 2013, leaves us savoring nostalgia.
Ham and scallop potatoes. Ham and scallop potatoes was a beloved dish in the culinary landscape of the 1950s to the 1980s. It brought together the earthy richness of thinly sliced potatoes and the savory goodness of chunks of ham, all enveloped in a creamy sauce that added a luscious texture to each bite.
Betty Crocker knows what guys want.
Potatoes.
The dish was typically baked until the top developed a golden crust, adding a delightful contrast of textures. One of the highlights of ham and scallop potatoes was its simplicity combined with comforting flavors. Families often cherish this dish for its ability to transform humble ingredients into a satisfying and flavorful meal. The creamy sauce, usually made with ingredients like milk, butter, and sometimes cheese, elevated the potatoes and ham to a level of indulgence that was perfect for family gatherings or cozy dinners at home. Moreover, ham and scallop potatoes showcased the resourcefulness of home cooks, as it was a practical way to utilize leftover ham from holiday meals or Sunday dinners. This thrifty approach to cooking, coupled with the dish's ability to please a crowd, contributed to its enduring popularity during that era.
Rice Krispies treats. These tasty bars were a simple delight made by combining crispy rice cereal, marshmallows, and butter or margarine. Parents and kids often had a great time creating these treats in their own kitchens. The process involved melting marshmallows and mixing them with the cereal, resulting in a gooey and crispy texture that brought joy to snack time.
More delicious Rice Krispies. More to love in every bite.
Known by various names like Rice Krispie Treats or Marshmallow Treats, a cherished homemade indulgence. While initially a homemade treat, the popularity of Rice Krispies Treats led W.K. Kellogg Company to start selling them in 1995. These timeless snacks encapsulate the nostalgia of the 1950s, representing a simple yet delightful culinary creation that families relish and continue to enjoy today.
Tuna noodle casserole. Tuna noodle casserole was an iconic dish that symbolized convenience and affordability. It was a staple on dinner tables across the country, especially in suburban households. The recipe typically consisted of canned tuna, egg noodles, and cream of mushroom soup, often topped with crispy breadcrumbs or potato chips for added texture.
Delicious, simple meals brought to you by Campbell's. Today, try tuna noodle casserole.
One reason for its popularity was its ease of preparation. Busy homemakers could quickly assemble this dish with pantry staples. Additionally, it was budget-friendly, making it appealing during times of economic constraint. Tuna noodle casserole also represented a shift towards processed and canned foods, reflecting the era's embrace of convenience foods. However, over time, dietary trends and preferences evolved, leading to a decline in the popularity of this once-beloved dish. Today, it's less common to find tuna noodle casserole on menus or in households, as tastes have shifted towards fresher ingredients and diverse culinary influences. Marathon Bar. The Marathon Bar was a popular treat in the 1970s and 80s, known for its braided caramel coated in chocolate. The Mars Company, famous for other confectionaries like Snickers and Milky Way, made it. The Marathon Bar gained a loyal following due to its unique texture and sweet flavor. The caramel was braided and then covered in chocolate to make a Marathon Bar, creating a delightful combination of chewy and creamy. While it wasn't a baked dessert, its recipe involved careful caramel preparation and chocolate coating techniques. Unfortunately, the Marathon Bar was discontinued in the United States in 1981 due to consumer preferences, market trends, and production cost. Despite its absence today, the Marathon Bar remains a nostalgic memory for those who enjoyed its sweet and chewy goodness. Liver and onions. Liver and onions were a typical and nutritious dish in American diets in the past. It gained popularity due to its rich iron content and being a good source of vitamins. The dish typically involved pan-frying slices of liver with onions and sometimes bacon or other seasonings. It was often served with mashed potatoes or vegetables, creating a hearty and satisfying meal. During this time, when nutritional awareness was growing, the liver was highly valued for its health benefits. However, its popularity has declined in recent decades due to changing taste and culinary preferences. Many people today prefer lighter meals or have developed aversions to the strong flavor of liver. Additionally, concerns about cholesterol and saturated fats have led to a decrease in the consumption of organ meats like liver in modern diets.
Back is animal crackers. These crackers came in small boxes with a string handle, making them not just a tasty treat, but also a playful, portable toy. Shaped like animals found at zoos or circuses like lions, tigers, bears, and elephants, they delighted both kids and adults. The crackers had a light, slightly sweet taste, but variations included chocolate-flavored and frosted versions. Despite their cookie-like flavor, they were made with a layered dough like crackers and marketed as such. Over the years, the number and variety of animals in each box changed, with a total of 53 different animals represented since 1902. The current packaging includes 22 animal-shaped cookies. The nostalgia for these iconic 1950s snacks, with their unique blend of taste and playfulness, remains strong.
Tunnel of Fudge Cake. The Tunnel of Fudge Cake was a famous dessert in the 1960s, gaining popularity after winning the Pillsbury Bake-Off contest. It was made by the Pillsbury Company, known for its baking products. This cake was unique because of its fudgy center that would ooze out when sliced, creating a delightful surprise for anyone enjoying it. Bakers used Pillsbury's unique mix to make this cake, which contained ingredients for the unique fudgy texture. It became quite famous and was a hit among dessert lovers. Unfortunately, the Tunnel of Fudge Cake is no longer around today because Pillsbury discontinued the mix needed to make it. Changes in consumer taste and preferences and shifts in the baking industry contributed to its disappearance from shelves and recipe books. Moving away from the Tunnel of Fudge Cake, let's explore the next must-have food item, lost and yet to be. Beef Stroganoff. Beef Stroganoff, a dish with roots in Russia, became a dinner table star in the USA between the 1950s and the 1980s. It was a time when families gathered around hearty meals, and beef stroganoff was a favorite.
New beef stroganoff, braised beef in a sour cream sauce sprinkled with savory herbs. It's so deliciously authentic, it takes me back to Mother Russia.
To make this dish, cooks would saute beef cuts like tenderloin or sirloin until browned. Then they'd stir in onions and mushrooms, cooking until these were soft and full of flavor. The magic happened with the sauce, a mix of beef broth and a big spoonful of sour cream. This combination created a sauce that was both rich and creamy, coating the beef in velvety goodness. The final touch was serving it over egg noodles or rice, turning it into a complete, satisfying meal. It was the kind of dinner that left everyone feeling full and happy.
The Dagwood sandwich, named after a character in the Blondie comic strip from the 1950s, is a remarkable creation from that era's kitchens. It's a tall sandwich with many layers, filled with different meats, cheeses, and condiments. The character Dagwood Bumstead in Blondie was often shown making these huge sandwiches in the comic strip, starting in 1936. While the exact ingredients of the Dagwood sandwich from the comic strip are not specified, it typically includes a variety of cold cuts, sliced cheese, and vegetables, all stacked between slices of bread. Interestingly, a small whole fish, likely a sardine, is often part of the mix. The towering sandwich is usually crowned with an olive on a toothpick or wooden skewer, making it a visually striking and unique part of culinary nostalgia from the 1950s. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich is a classic snack loved by many, especially kids in the 1950s. It's a simple yet delicious sandwich made by spreading peanut butter and fruit preserves, jelly, on bread. You can have it open-faced, folded over, or with 2 slices of bread. To make a basic PB&J, you spread peanut butter on one slice of bread and fruit preserves on another, then sandwich them together. There are different variations, starting from a basic peanut butter or jam sandwich. Jelly is made from fruit juice boiled with a gelling agent, while jam has crushed fruit and fruit pulp heated with water and sugar. Preserves having more water content can make the bread soggy, so some people spread peanut butter on both slices to create a barrier. Even though it's been around for a long time, PB&J remains a timeless and favorite treat for people of all ages.
Salisbury steak. Salisbury steak, a classic American comfort food, rose to fame from the 1950s through the 1980s. This dish, simple yet satisfying, featured ground beef patties seasoned and shaped to resemble a steak, then smothered in a rich, savory gravy. It became a symbol of the era's dining culture, gracing the tables of family dinners and neatly packed into the compartments of TV dinners.
Whoa!
I gotta blow the whistle on these Encore Salisbury steaks out.
What's the call, Ref?
There's just too much food here for one official. I can't finish all these juicy flame-broiled Salisbury steaks all by myself.
The preparation of Salisbury steak was straightforward. Ground beef was mixed with breadcrumbs, eggs, and spices, formed into oval patties, and then pan-fried or baked. The gravy, often a blend of broth, flour, and seasonings, was poured over the cooked patties, creating a meal that was both filling and flavorful. Its popularity was partly due to the convenience it offered during the rise of television. Families could enjoy the hearty meal while watching their favorite shows, all without the fuss of extensive cooking or cleanup. Salisbury steak embodied the spirit of mid-century America, a time of practicality and comfort. Today, while Salisbury steak may not be as prevalent as it once was, it hasn't disappeared entirely. It can still be found in some diners, restaurants, and frozen meal sections, offering a taste of nostalgia. Fudge-sickle fudge pops. Fudge-sickle fudge pops were a beloved frozen dessert from the 1950s to the 1980s. They were created by the Popsicle Company, known for its innovative ice treats. These fudge pops were creamy, chocolatey delights on a stick, perfect for hot summer days. They gained immense popularity and were a staple in many households, especially among kids and families. To make fudge-sickle fudge pops, a mixture of milk, sugar, and cocoa was frozen in molds, resulting in a smooth and rich chocolatey taste. They were a convenient and affordable indulgence that captured the essence of summer. However, as taste evolved and new dessert options emerged, the demand for fudge-sickle fudge pops declined. Additionally, changes in consumer preferences and competition from other dessert brands contributed to their gradual disappearance from the market. Unfortunately, the decline in sales led to the discontinuation of this nostalgic treat, leaving behind fond memories of its creamy chocolate goodness.
Chex Mix is a popular snack made with Chex breakfast cereal as the main ingredient. Originally a homemade treat using Chex cereal, it quickly became a favorite at parties due to its special blend of seasonings.
They're not coming? We can eat the Chex Party Mix? All right! Chex Party Mix. It's so easy and so good.
Many people have their own recipes for Chex Mix, often found on Chex cereal boxes, and it's sometimes called Chex Party Mix. This homemade version has been around for more than 30 years before the commercial one. The mix typically includes a variety of Chex cereals, along with chips, hard breadsticks, pretzels, nuts, or bagel bites. In 2009, 2 new flavors, spicy Szechuan and teriyaki, were introduced exclusively at convenience stores, adding a spicy and savory twist to the traditional Chex Mix. Whether homemade or store-bought, Chex Mix has become a tasty and versatile snack enjoyed by many. As we savor the crunchy goodness of Chex Mix, our taste buds journey through a blend of flavor.
Chicken a la King. Chicken a la King was another classic comfort food dish that gained popularity in the United States during the mid-20th century. This dish features a creamy mixture of diced chicken, sautéed mushrooms, and colorful vegetables such as bell peppers and peas, all cooked together in a rich and savory sauce, often made with cream, chicken broth, and sometimes sherry or white wine for added flavor.
Well, hello there, friends. I'm bringing you back to the 70s again. And this one, Chicken a la King. That used to be one of my best-selling items in the restaurant for lunch.
Traditionally, Chicken a la King was served over a bed of fluffy rice or atop toasted bread, such as toast points or biscuits, making it a hearty and satisfying meal. The creamy texture and blend of flavors made it a favorite among families and a staple on restaurant menus across the country. While Chicken a la King may not be as ubiquitous on modern menus, it remains a nostalgic representation of classic American comfort food, cherished for its creamy goodness and comforting appeal.
TV dinners, introduced in the 1950s, were a big deal back then. They were all about convenience and perfectly matched the fascination people had with television. In the U.S., they're also known as prepackaged meals, ready-made meals, or frozen dinners. These are like complete meals in a box meant for one person, and they usually have meat, fish, or pasta as the main course, along with veggies, potatoes, or dessert. The term TV dinner became famous because of a brand created in 1953 by C.A. Swanson, and Sons called it TV brand frozen dinner. The original TV dinner was cooked in an oven using an aluminum tray. Later, in 1986, Campbell's Soup Company made a tray that could be used in a microwave. Nowadays, most frozen meals come in trays that can be microwaved and are made of plastic or coated cardboard. They've been a convenient meal option for many people over the years.
Pineapple upside down cake. The pineapple upside-down cake is a sweet symbol of mid-20th century America. Its story begins in the 1920s when the Hawaiian Pineapple Company, later known as Dole, encouraged the use of canned pineapple by hosting a recipe contest. This cake won hearts with its charming look, bright pineapple rings and maraschino cherries artfully placed at the bottom of a pan covered with cake batter and then flipped to reveal a golden caramelized top once baked. During the 1950s, this dessert was a hit in American homes. It was easy to whip up, especially with the advent of boxed cake mixes, and it brought a taste of tropical paradise to the table. The cake's fame was not just because it was a baked dessert, but also because it was a canvas for home cooks to express their creativity. However, as the decades passed, dessert trends evolved. The pineapple upside-down cake, while still cherished by many, saw a decline in everyday popularity. This wasn't due to any downfall of the Dole Company, which is still thriving. Instead, it was simply a shift in culinary taste and preferences. The cake remains a nostalgic treat, often baked for special occasions to evoke the sweet memories of the past. Pot roast. Pot roast was a classic American comfort food from the 1950s to the 1980s. It was prepared by slow cooking a large cut of beef, typically a chuck roast with carrots, onions, and potatoes. This hearty dish was favored for its simplicity and rich flavors, making it a staple for family dinners and gatherings.
Now you don't need an occasion to have a roast. You just need 10 minutes. New Maple Leaf roasts, real hand-trimmed cuts of seasoned beef, pork, or turkey.
The slow cooking process allowed the meat to become tender and infused with the savory flavors of the vegetables and seasonings. Pot roast was often cooked in a Dutch oven or a slow cooker, allowing for a convenient and hands-off preparation method. Its popularity stemmed from its ability to provide a satisfying and wholesome meal that could feed a crowd with minimal effort. While pot roast remains a beloved comfort food today, the renaissance of corned beef and cabbage is too sweet to pass up. Corned beef and cabbage. Corned beef and cabbage was a popular dish, especially around St. Patrick's Day from the 1950s to the 1980s. It was a boiled dinner that became a staple for many American families, particularly those of Irish descent. The dish featured corned beef, which is beef cured in a brine solution with spices, giving it a distinct, salty and tangy flavor. The meat was then slow cooked or boiled with cabbage, potatoes, carrots, and sometimes onions. This hearty meal provided a comforting and satisfying option for gatherings and celebrations. Corned beef and cabbage's popularity during St. Patrick's Day reflected a cultural connection to Irish heritage and traditions. While it remains a recognizable dish today, its prominence as a go-to meal for American families has waned over time.
Hostess Snowballs, a cherished treat, are delicious chocolate cakes filled with cream, covered in marshmallow frosting, and coated with coconut flakes. Hostess once made these delightful goodies, but is now owned by private equity firms Apollo Global Management and Metropolis & Company. The iconic pink snowballs are the most common, but they also come in chocolate, lemon, white, green, blue, and other colors to match holidays or seasons. Sold in convenient packages of 2, you can find them in many U.S. convenience and grocery stores. In the United Kingdom, Tunnocks produces a similar treat called a snowball. Although they share the coconut covering, these cakes are typically brown instead of pink because they have chocolate on the outside. Widely available at supermarkets, these sweet treats offer a tasty alternative for those across the pond. Moon pies are a beloved American treat enjoyed by people across the country for many years. These snacks consist of 2 round graham cookies with a fluffy marshmallow filling in the center, all coated in a tasty, flavored layer. The traditional moon pie is about 4 inches wide, while a smaller version, known as the mini moon pie, is about half the weight. For those who want even more indulgence, there's a double-decker version with an extra cookie and more marshmallows. These delightful treats come in 5 main flavors: chocolate, vanilla, banana, strawberry, and salted caramel.
Can I have a moon pie?
A little moon pie can change the world.
In 2020, the company introduced new varieties like the pumpkin spice double-decker moon pie and mini moon pies. With their delicious combination of marshmallow, graham cracker, and chocolatey coating, moon pies continues to be a sweet and nostalgic snack enjoyed by generations of Americans.
Shepherd's pie. Shepherd's pie, a British classic that crossed the Atlantic, became a beloved staple in American homes from the 1950s to the 1980s. This hearty dish is layered with simplicity and tradition, reflecting the practicality of mid-20th century American cooking. The preparation of shepherd's pie begins with ground meat, traditionally lamb, but beef was often used in the U.S. The meat is cooked until brown and then simmered in a rich gravy with onions, carrots, and sometimes peas for a savory filling. The mixture is then spread into a baking dish. The next layer is the mashed potatoes, creamy and fluffy, often enriched with butter and milk. The potatoes are spread over the meat and smoothed to create a seal. The final touch, a ruffle of fork tines or a sprinkle of cheese, adds texture and flavor to the crust.
Blended from selected herbs and spices, Schwartz authentic mixes help you create all kinds of dishes, from exotic things like shepherd's pie.
The core ingredients are ground meat, onions, carrots, gravy, and potatoes. Variations might include celery, cheese, or other vegetables, but the essence of shepherd's pie remains the same: meat and potatoes in perfect harmony. Shepherd's pie has endured as a comfort food classic. It's found in family dinners, potlucks, and even upscale restaurants that pay homage to this humble dish with gourmet twists. Its enduring popularity lies in its versatility and the ease with which it can be customized to suit any palate or dietary need. Drake's Devil Dogs. Drake's Devil Dogs was a hit dessert from the 1950s to the 1980s. They were made by Drake's Cakes, a company known for their tasty treats. These devil dogs were a type of cream-filled devil's food cake. Back then, they were incredibly famous and enjoyed by many people nationwide. The company's story started in 1888, founded by Newman E. Drake in Harlem, New York. They became known for their delicious snack cakes, including devil dogs. These cakes were soft, chocolatey, and filled with creamy goodness. The recipe for devil dogs was relatively simple, involving baking soft devil's food cakes and filling them with a creamy center.
Nothing else is a devil dog.
Drake's Cakes.
People loved devil dogs for their unique taste and convenient packaging. They were a go-to snack for kids and adults alike. However, as time went on, the popularity of devil dogs started to decline. The company faced challenges, including changes in consumer preferences and increased competition from other dessert brands. Despite efforts to revitalize the brand, Drake's Cakes struggled to keep up, eventually leading to a decline in production.
I love devil dogs.
While devil dogs are still available today, they are less widely enjoyed than they once were during their peak years. Chops and applesauce. Pork chops and applesauce were another hallmark of mid-century American cuisine, particularly popular from the 1950s to the 1980s. This dish exemplified the trend of combining sweet and savory flavors in a single meal, reflecting the culinary preferences of the time. The pairing of tender pork chops with the tart sweetness of applesauce was a hit among families and diners alike. It offered a harmonious blend of flavors and textures that appealed to a wide range of palates. The dish was often served as a comforting and satisfying meal, showcasing the versatility of pork in American cooking. However, as culinary taste evolved and dietary trends shifted, the popularity of pork chops and applesauce gradually waned.
Deviled eggs are a must-have at any party, loved for their simple yet delicious taste. These eggs, also known as stuffed eggs or curried eggs, are made by boiling eggs, peeling them and cutting them in half. The yolks are then mixed with ingredients like mayonnaise and mustard. They are served cold and are popular as a side dish, appetizer, or even a main course during gatherings. The history of deviled eggs goes way back to ancient Rome, where seasoned and boiled eggs were served as a first course. The term devil in relation to highly seasoned food dates back to the 18th century, with the first print reference appearing in 1786. In the 19th century, deviled became associated with spicy or zesty foods, including eggs prepared with mustard and pepper. The popularity of deviled eggs extends across Europe, North America, and Australia, making them a timeless and tasty treat enjoyed around the world.
Dixie Snack Pies. Dixie Snack Pies were a sensation in the 70s, beloved for their convenience and delicious flavors like peach, cherry, and chocolate. These prepackaged individual pies were made by the Dixie Packaging Corporation, a company that originated in the United States. These pies were baked treats made with a pastry crust and filled with fruity or chocolatey goodness. They gained immense popularity for their on-the-go appeal, perfect for lunchboxes or quick snacks. Dixie snack pies were famous for their simple yet satisfying recipes, often enjoyed as a nostalgic treat. However, as taste evolved and consumer preferences shifted towards healthier options, demand for these classic pies declined. The company faced challenges adapting to changing market trends and eventually ceased production in the mid-1980s. Moving from the era of Dixie snack pies, let's turn the spotlight onto a different dessert that has vanished from our tables. Clam chowder. Clam chowder, especially in New England, holds a cherished place in American culinary history from the 1950s to the 1980s.
You having that chunky clam chowder? Yep. Looks like real New England broth. Yep. They say it's got chunks of clams and potatoes so big you could eat them with a fork.
This creamy soup, brimming with succulent clams and hearty chunks of potatoes, was a comfort food favorite enjoyed by many. Its rich and comforting flavor profile, often complemented by a dash of smoky bacon or aromatic herbs, made it a go-to choice for warming up on chilly days. One of the distinctive features of clam chowder was its accompaniment of oyster crackers, adding a delightful crunch and texture to each spoonful. These small round crackers not only enhanced the soup's overall experience, but also became a nostalgic element of enjoying clam chowder. The popularity of clam chowder extended beyond just its taste. It symbolized a connection to coastal traditions and seafood heritage. Families would gather around tables, savoring this hearty dish while sharing stories and creating cherished memories. Despite its decline in popularity in recent years, clam chowder remains a beloved classic that holds a special place in the hearts of those who remember its comforting warmth and delicious flavors. Screaming Yellow Zonkers. Screaming Yellow Zonkers were a popular snack in the late 1960s. They were popcorn coated in a yellow sugary glaze which made them unique. The company behind this treat was the Lincoln Snacks Company. They were known for their distinctive black box packaging and funny advertising. Back then, Screaming Yellow Zonkers gained quite a bit of fame. People enjoyed their sweet and crunchy taste, making them a hit snack during movie nights or gatherings. However, despite their popularity, Screaming Yellow Zonkers are no longer around today. The demise of this beloved snack was tied to the fate of the Lincoln Snacks Company. Unfortunately, the company faced financial challenges and eventually went out of business. This led to the discontinuation of Screaming Yellow Zonkers and some other products they offered as well. As for the recipe, Screaming Yellow Zonkers was not a baked dessert, but rather a coated snack.
If something is rotten, and when something is truly wonderful, you understand that Screaming Yellow Zonkers here is a fantastic butter-glazed popcorn snack.
The process involved coating popcorn with a sugary glaze, giving them distinct flavor and texture.
Popsicles and creamsicles. These tasty snacks were a hit during hot summer days, offering a cool and refreshing treat for kids and adults alike. Popsicles came in various fruity flavors like cherry, orange, and grape, while creamsicles added a creamy twist with flavors like orange and vanilla. They were loved for their sweet taste and creamy texture, making them a favorite among many people. Both popsicles and creamsicles were enjoyed by sticking them onto a wooden stick, which made them easy to hold and eat. They quickly became iconic snacks of the era, bringing joy and relief during warm weather. Even today, the nostalgic flavors of these frozen treats continue to be cherished, and many people still have fond memories of enjoying them on hot summer days. As the last traces of popsicle sweetness linger, what other delightful memories lie within the snack-filled time capsule of the 1950s?
Goulash. Goulash, an Americanized take on the Hungarian classic, became immensely popular in the United States in the 1950s to the 1980s. It was a hearty and comforting dish, perfect for family dinners and gatherings. The recipe typically included ground beef, macaroni, onions, bell peppers, garlic, and a rich tomato-based sauce seasoned with paprika, salt, and pepper. One of the reasons for its popularity was its simplicity and affordability, making it a staple in many households. It was a one-pot meal that could feed a crowd without breaking the bank. The flavors were robust and satisfying, combining the savory notes of beef with the tanginess of tomatoes and the warmth of paprika. Despite its decline in popularity in recent years, many nostalgic individuals would love to see goulash make a comeback on dinner tables. Fruit float. The fruit float was a dessert product created by Jell-O that gained popularity in the 1970s. It was a delightful treat that combined fruits with flavored gelatin mix, offering a refreshing and colorful dessert experience. Jell-O, a well-known brand famous for its gelatin desserts, introduced Fruit Float as a creative twist to its lineup. The dessert featured a mix of different fruits suspended in the gelatin, creating a visually appealing and tasty treat. During the 1970s, Fruit Float became quite popular among dessert enthusiasts. Its vibrant colors and fruity flavors made it a hit at parties and family gatherings. People enjoy the combination of soft fruits and the smooth texture of the gelatin. However, as taste and trends changed, Fruit Float gradually lost popularity. The demand for this dessert declined, leading Jell-O to discontinue its production. Today, Fruit Float is no longer available on the market, becoming a nostalgic memory for those who enjoyed it during its heyday.
Libby's new Fruit Float. Strawberry, raspberry, peach, pineapple, and mandarin orange, all with real fruit.
Preparing Fruit Float was straightforward. Mixing the Jell-O gelatin with water and adding various fruits like strawberries, oranges, and pineapple. Once sent, it created a visually stunning dessert that delighted taste buds with its fruity sweetness. Chicken Devon. Chicken Devon was adored for its rich flavors and elegant presentation. This casserole, featuring tender chicken and vibrant broccoli, bathed in a velvety sauce and crowned with melted cheese, symbolized the sophistication of mid-century dinner parties.
Now you know one of the reasons why Stouffer's Chicken Divan with broccoli is as good as can be.
Its popularity soared from the 1950s to the 1980s, becoming a staple on family tables and festive gatherings alike. What made Chicken Devon stand out was its perfect balance of creamy texture, savory chicken, and the earthy freshness of broccoli. The dish encapsulated the era's culinary trends, emphasizing convenience without compromising taste. However, as culinary preferences evolved and healthier eating habits gained traction, Chicken Devon gradually faded from mainstream menus. Pet Ritz frozen pies. During the 1950s to the 1980s, Pet Ritz frozen pies were a household name and a go-to dessert choice for many. These frozen pies were a staple in numerous homes, offering convenience and delicious flavors. Pet Ritz, a brand owned by Pet Incorporated, gained significant popularity with its wide range of pie options, including apple, cherry, pumpkin, and pecan. The appeal of Pet Ritz frozen pies lies in their convenience factor. Busy families and individuals appreciated the ease of preparation. Simply pop the pie in the oven and enjoy a homemade dessert without the hassle of starting from scratch. Additionally, the pies were known for their flaky crust and flavorful fillings, earning them a loyal customer base. However, with the rise of other brands offering similar frozen pie options and the evolving preferences of consumers towards fresher artisanal desserts, Pet Ritz frozen pies saw a decline in prominence. The shift in consumer behavior and market dynamics led to decreased demand for Pet Ritz pies, ultimately impacting their availability and presence in the market.
In the 1950s, Swanson meat pies were a popular snack that people loved. These individual pies were like a quick meal or a satisfying snack. They were especially handy before TV dinners became a thing. One of the favorites was the Swanson beef pot pie. It had a flaky crust that tasted homemade, and inside there were chunks of tender beef and vegetables. It was the ultimate comfort food for many folks back then. What made these pies even better was that they were made without any artificial flavors or colors. You could enjoy a delicious and piping hot meal by popping them in the microwave or oven.
I just put it in the oven, and by and by it was done.
Many people today long for the return of these classic snacks from the 1950s.
Meatloaf. Meatloaf was a classic American dinner dish from the past, beloved for its simplicity and comforting flavors. Families across the USA often enjoyed meatloaf served alongside creamy mashed potatoes and tender green beans. It was a versatile dish, easily customizable with various spices and seasonings, making it adaptable to different tastes and preferences.
Kids, what do you want for breakfast? Cereal!
Meatloaf!
Cereal!
Meatloaf!
The affordability and ease of preparation made meatloaf a staple in many households, representing wholesome, home-cooked meals that brought people together at the dinner table. Its popularity waned in more recent years, partly due to changing culinary trends and a shift towards lighter, healthier fare. However, there's a nostalgic charm attached to meatloaf, and many people today fondly remember the hearty flavors and the sense of warmth it brought to family dinners. making it a dish that's often missed and wished to make a comeback on modern dining tables. As we bid farewell to meatloaf, let's uncover another gem from the past that deserves a culinary comeback. Pudding Pops. Pudding Pops were frozen pudding treats on a stick that gained fame through commercials featuring Bill Cosby in the 1980s. They were made by the Jell-O brand, known for its gelatin desserts. These pops were trendy during their time, offering a convenient and tasty frozen dessert option. To make them, a creamy pudding mixture was frozen on a stick, creating a refreshing and indulgent treat. However, despite their initial success, Pudding Pops eventually faded from popularity. The Jell-O company faced various challenges, including changes in consumer preferences and competition from other dessert options. As a result, the production of Pudding Pops was discontinued. Chiffon cake. Chiffon cake, a delightful dessert from the mid-20th century, was invented by Harry Baker in 1927. The cake was unique because it was made with vegetable oil instead of butter, which gave it a light and airy texture. The recipe was a secret for nearly 20 years, only known to Hollywood stars and the famous Brown Derby restaurant. In 1947, Baker sold his secret to General Mills, and the following year, it was shared with the whole country through Betty Crocker, making it a household name. Chiffon cake was trendy in the 1950s and the 1960s. It was easy to make and could be flavored in many ways, like orange, lemon, or chocolate. People loved it because it was fluffy like angel food cake, but moist like butter. Unfortunately, chiffon cake's popularity has waned as shifting food trends led people to favor other desserts. It's no longer as common as it once was. Swedish meatballs. Swedish meatballs were an iconic dinner dish in the USA from the 1950s to the 1980s. They were known for their creamy sauce, typically made with a blend of beef or pork broth, cream, and spices like nutmeg and allspice. These meatballs were often served with noodles or potatoes, making for a hearty and comforting meal.
Meatball. I love you, meatball.
What made Swedish meatballs stand out was not just their delicious flavor, but also their cultural significance. They represented a time when European cuisine, particularly Scandinavian flavors, captured the American palate. This trend reflected the broader fascination with international foods during the mid-century period. However, over time, the popularity of Swedish meatballs declined, and they are no longer as commonly found on dinner tables today.
Delightful snack from the 1950s that many people want back is egg cream, which is especially popular in New York. It's a classic and unique beverage made with a simple yet delicious combination of milk, carbonated water, seltzer, and chocolate syrup or vanilla. Despite its name, there are no eggs or creams involved in making it. The ideal serving leaves the glass with 2x3 liquid and 1x3 foamy head, creating a distinctive taste experience. The charm of egg cream lies in its exclusivity as a fountain drink. While there have been attempts to bottle it, none have fully succeeded. The refreshing taste and the characteristic foamy head require the ingredients to be mixed just before enjoying. Those who fondly remember the 1950s often crave the return of this iconic snack, savoring its nostalgic flavors. As the fizz of the egg cream transports us to 1950s New York, we're left curious about another iconic treat.
Jell-O 1-2-3. In the 1960s, Jell-O 1-2-3 emerged as a notable dessert. Produced by the famous Jell-O company, it gained fame for its unique feature, separating into 3 layers upon settling. This included a creamy top, a mousse-like middle, and a plain Jell-O bottom, creating a visually appealing treat. Recipes for Jell-O 1-2-3 varied, but typically involved mixing the contents of the package with water and letting it set to form distinct layers. The dessert gained significant popularity during its time, becoming a staple at many dinner tables and gatherings. However, despite its initial success, Jell-O 1-2-3 is no longer available today. The reasons for its discontinuation are multifaceted, including changes in consumer preferences, evolving food trends, and shifts in the demand for dessert options. These factors ultimately led to the phasing out of this once iconic Jell-O creation. Funny Face Drink Mix. Funny Face Drink Mix was a popular competitor to Kool-Aid in the 1960s and the 1970s. It was made by Pillsbury, a well-known company making baked goods. The drink mix came in sugar-free powder with a range of fruit flavors, attracting many fans for its sweet taste without the sugar. It gained fame for its colorful packaging and catchy advertising, becoming a favorite among kids and families.
Sweet and Funny Face comes in a 2-quart size, and that's a lot when it's hot. Drink Funny Face.
Making Funny Face drinks was simple. Just mix the powder with water, and voila! A refreshing fruity drink was ready. However, despite its initial success, Funny Face drink mix eventually vanished from the market. The decline happened due to changes in consumer preferences, shifts in marketing strategies, and the company's decision to focus on other product lines. Today, it's remembered fondly as a nostalgic part of the past, especially by those who grew up enjoying its fruity flavors. Viennetta ice cream. Viennetta ice cream was a fancy treat in the 1980s. It had layers of creamy ice cream and delicious crispy chocolate. People loved it for its elegant look and delicious taste. The idea came from a British company called Walls, known for making ice cream treats. They wanted something special for dessert lovers. To make Viennetta, they poured creamy ice cream onto a conveyor belt, adding chocolate layers as it moved along. The process created the distinct layers that made Viennetta so appealing. It wasn't a baked dessert. Instead, it was frozen to perfection. Unfortunately, Viennetta isn't as common today, especially in the U.S.
You can have more slices or larger slices, but beware, one slice is still never enough.
The company that made it faced challenges, and taste changed over time. People started preferring different desserts, and Viennetta slowly disappeared from the shelves. However, in 2007, Walls celebrated Viennetta's 25th anniversary with a colossal 74-foot-long version, earning a Guinness World Record.
Candy cigarettes, introduced in the late 1950s, were sweet treats made from sugary materials like chalk, bubblegum, or chocolate. They were designed to look like real cigarettes, wrapped in paper and branded to resemble actual tobacco products.
They were thought to encourage impressionable children to smoke.
How dumb do they think we are?
Some even had powdered sugar inside, allowing kids to blow into them and create a sugar smoke effect. Despite their popularity among children wanting to mimic adults, candy cigarettes faced controversy. Critics argued that these sweets desensitized kids and could potentially lead them to smoke in the future. The candy's packaging often mimicked real cigarette brands, raising concerns about marketing to children. As a result, several countries banned the sale of candy cigarettes, although they continued to be produced and consumed in some places. The collaboration between tobacco companies and candy cigarette manufacturers further fueled the debate, ultimately contributing to the ban due to its controversial nature. Jello salads were a must-have at every dinner party in America. These unique salads were made with flavored gelatin and mixed with fruits, and sometimes had grated carrots, veggies, or unusual additions like marshmallows, nuts, or pretzels. Imagine a lime-flavored gelatin giving the salad a green hue, nuts or pretzels adding a touch of brown, bits of cottage cheese providing a white element, and a fruit cocktail contributing red and orange. It looked like a traditional salad, but it was set firmly in gelatin. Jello salads were a big hit in the 50s, and today they're considered a retro treat. Some variations even included mayonnaise or salad dressing, emphasizing the salad theme. These gelatin creations became a staple at communal gatherings like potlucks in the United States, probably because they were cheap and easy to make. Fondue is a tasty Swiss dish that became really popular in the late 1950s and 1960s. It's like a melted cheese and wine mixture served in a special pot over a small stove. People heat it using a candle or a spirit lamp. The pot is called a cacalon or fondue pot. To eat fondue, you use long forks to dip pieces of bread and sometimes veggies into the melted cheese. The Swiss Cheese Union started promoting fondue as a national dish in the 1930s. It became a hit in North America during the 1960s. Over time, the word fondue got used for other dishes where you dip food into a hot pot. There's chocolate fondue, where you dip fruit or pastries into melted chocolate, and fondue bourguignon, where you cook pieces of meat in hot oil or broth. It's a fun and interactive way to enjoy a meal with friends and family. Pimiento cheese spread is a popular homemade treat, often used on sandwiches or with crackers. Originating from the southern United States, it's sometimes called the pâté of the South, or the caviar of the South. The main ingredients are sharp cheddar cheese, or processed cheese like Velveeta or American cheese, cheese, mayonnaise, and pimentos. Pimentos are also known as pimientos. People blend these ingredients into a smooth or chunky paste. This delicious spread can be enjoyed in various ways. You can put it on crackers or celery, scoop it onto corn or tortilla chips, mix it with mashed yolks for deviled eggs, add it to grits, or spread it over hamburgers or hot dogs. Its simple recipe and versatile uses make pimiento cheese spread a go-to choice for those who love tasty snacks and sandwiches. The banana split. One delightful treat from the 1950s that we'd love to make a comeback is the banana split. This classic American dessert was a favorite among diners and became an iconic indulgence. It consists of a peeled banana sliced in half with scoops of vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry ice cream nestled between the banana halves. The magic doesn't stop there. The banana split is generously drizzled with sauces, typically chocolate, strawberry, and pineapple, a dollop of whipped cream, a sprinkle of nuts, like peanuts or walnuts, and the finishing touch of maraschino cherries complete the ensemble. While the original Strickler's marshmallow sauce is no longer in the mix, modern versions embrace caramel sauce as a non-traditional twist. Reviving this delicious blast from the past would not only satisfy our sweet tooth, but also bring back the nostalgic charm of enjoying a classic banana split. This timeless treat deserves a spot on today's snack menu.